Good morning, dear students. Welcome back. I'm Miss Meisaء with you again. Today we have very important thing that we all hope that you will like it, and it is very important and essential in your exams. And this is the only thing with the composition you are going to write, which is question formation. You are going to form questions for some sentences, and the words we are going to ask for them will be underlined. So now let's start with the first type of questions, which is called WH questions. So the first type is WH questions. The second is called yes-no questions. Let's start with WH questions. The first word and the most common ones, which is what. What is used to ask about different things. So what is used to ask about different things? For example, here there are some examples. What's your nationality? What's your nationality? Syrian. I wrote for you here some questions with their answers in order to know how to use them. You will find that the word, for example, Syrian, will be underlined for you in the exam. So you are going to write the question. When you have the word Syrian, Syrian, and the word Syrian is underlined, you are going to ask, what's your nationality? Number two, what you will have, for example, my hobby is reading. So you will find the word reading is underlined. The question will be, what's your favorite hobby? What's your favorite hobby? My hobby is reading. So here we finish with the word what, which is used for different things. We can say, what do you like to eat? What's your favorite, for example, sport you do, etc. We have a lot of usages for the word what. Let's move to something else. Now the word where. Where is used to ask about a place. Where? It is used for asking about places. For example, where do you live? You will find in your exams, Aleppo, Syria is underlined. So what is the question? You will say, where do you live? I live in Aleppo, Syria. Or we can say, I live in Syria and then dash Aleppo. Doesn't matter the order, but we should know that some people, they don't know that Aleppo is a city in Syria. So that's why you should mention the word Syria. So where do you live or where are you from? You will say, I live in Aleppo, Syria. The second question here, for example, you have the word bank is underlined. So we'll ask for, they say, he works in a bank, or my father works in a bank. And they ask you to write a question. So you'll ask, where does your father work? Where does your father work? And the answer is, he works in a bank. So the word bank will be underlined. Let's move. To the third word, which is when. When we ask about time, and we ask about a specific time, which means o'clock, what time, for example here, when do you get up? You will find the word 5 o'clock in your exams is underlined. So you'll put for you the word 5 o'clock will be underlined, and you should ask the question, when do you get up? When do you get up? I get up at 5 o'clock. Another question here, for example, they say it finishes at 2 o'clock. So we have a specific time of the day at 2 o'clock. In the morning, in the evening, this is called, or at noon, all are called the specific time. Here we say it finishes at 2 o'clock. So what is the question? When does your school finish? When does your school finish? It finishes at 2 o'clock. Number 4, why? Why? We ask about a reason if we have a result and we want to know the reason for that result. So the word why is used for a reason. For example, they say because he was sick, and you have this sentence, all of it is underlined, and they want you to ask a question. Why was Ali absent? Because he was sick. Most of the time, the word because tells me that I'm going to ask using why. Most of the time, okay? When we find the word why, because we ask with why. Why was Ali absent? Because he was sick. Number 5. 5, now we'll start with who. Who, we ask about the subject if the subject here is a person, and we should have a name of this person. We can't use it if we are asking about, for example, a pronoun. He, she, they, we can't ask using who because it is not clear who is the person I'm going to talk about. So here it is very important to know that the word who is used instead of names. Here just we replace the name of the person, and this is irregular way of asking, and we put the word who alone without changing anything. As you can see, we didn't use here, we don't use any helping verb or we inverted the words, no need. Immediately just we replace the name with the word who. For example, Hussam speaks English well. Hussam speaks English well. And they underline for me the word Hussam, the name of this person. So just we replace the word Hussam and we write who speaks English well. Who speaks English well? Sometimes a group of people also used to be asked about, for example, if we are talking about doctors, engineers, for example, doctors work in hospitals. We replace the word doctors and ask who work in hospitals. The same for this sentence. For example, they say environmentalists are going to hold a meeting next week or next month. Environmentalists are going to hold a meeting next month. And they underline for us the word environmentalist. And they want us to ask, so here we say, who are, we replace the word environmentalist and we write the word who, and we complete, as you can see, the whole sentence as it is. Who are going to hold the meeting next month? Who are going to hold the meeting next month? So here the answer is the word environmentalist, okay? So when we have the word who for the subject, it is irregular because irregular way of asking, we don't use helping verbs and we don't paraphrase the words between the subject and the verb. It is, or the pronoun, we leave them the same. We don't change anything in the sentence. Just we replace the word, the name they give us with the word which is who. Okay, I hope you understand it and pay attention to it. It is very irregular. Let's move to the word whom. Whom we use it when we are going to ask about objects. If we are going to ask about objects, for example, look at this sentence. They say, I traveled to Damascus with my family. I traveled to Damascus with my family last week. So the word, if the word my family is underlined, here, how can I ask? This is an object, and I'm going to ask about the word my family. Okay, so we say, whom did? Look, with the word whom, again we use helping verb, and it is regular question, not like the word who. Whom did you travel with last week? Sometimes the students write the word with at the beginning, before the word whom. It is acceptable, but we say it is informal, but it is acceptable to say, with whom did you travel last week? It's okay, but it is less formal than the word when we say, whom did you travel with last week? So the word whom used for object. I traveled to Damascus with my family last week. Whom did you travel with last week? Now, number 7, we have the word whose. Whose, which is used for position. Position when you own something, when you have something, we use whose. For example, they say, the car is mine. They give me the sentence and say, it is mine, or the car is mine. So I'll ask, whose car is this? And pay attention, after the word whose, immediately we use the noun which we are talking about. So immediately before we have the verbs, we use the word or the noun that we are going to ask about. Whose car is that? It's mine, or it is my car. Okay, so the word whose for position, something that you have it. So here we say, whose car is that? We mentioned immediately, and then this is the answer, the car is mine, or the bus is mine. Doesn't matter, car or bus. Now we move to the word how. the first word how alone by itself, that we can ask about anything in a way, the way we do it or the thing that we use. How do we, for example, here they say, how do you go to school? And the answer, I go to school on foot. I go to school on foot. I'll change the color, just thank you. So, for example here, on foot or by car, by bus, whatever the way you go. But when you walk to school, you don't say, I walk to school. We say, I go to school on foot. So the question here, how do you go to school? How? For example, another example, we say, how do you prepare coffee? How do you cook rice? How do you make cakes? So we can use the word how for many things. And the thing which is easy, you know it about, how are you? If you are asking someone, how is he? Here we can say, for example, another example says, my father spends his time reading novels. How can you ask here? You say, how does your father spend his free time? How does your father spend his free time? He spends his free time reading novels. He reads novels, okay? So the word here, how, is used for many things. Now we start with the word how with something else. For example, how old? And here we are talking about age. Age means if I ask you, how old are you? And, or sometimes last year it was a question in the exam asking about your mother. How old is your mother? They say, they give me the word 13 years old and they ask a student to ask about it for 9th grade, I think. So we'll say, how old is your mother? She's 30 years old. She's very young. How old is your mother? So not all the time that we ask about your age, how old are you? Sometimes ask about your mother, friend, father, brother, etc. So she is 30 years old. We have the word how old should be together. If you write how alone, forget about old, you lose the mark. So pay attention to use the correct word, cluster word. It should be correct and not in a way that we can check your question, all of it. We give you a grade. If you don't write it well, you lose the chance that your question won't be checked at all, or you have 0. How often? How often we use it with repetition when we are repeating some activities. For example, here they say twice a week. Twice a week. Things you are doing, they say, for example, I play chess twice a week, and they underline for you the word twice a week. What is the question here? We say, how often do you play chess? How often do you play chess? So you say twice a week. Note about this before we move to something else. I want you to pay attention. Keep in mind that any word like every, for example, every week, every morning, every month, every, plus adverbs of frequency like always, sometimes, usually, rarely, seldom, plus the word once, twice, 3 times, all of these, if we find them in a sentence, so we use how often. So the word how often is used with simple present, dealing with repetition, if we are repeating an activity. How long? Number 11, how long when we are talking about period of time. Look, the word when we talk about specific time. But here, how long, it tells me about a long period of time. For example, use it with since and for, most of the time with the present perfect, if you remember. So here, we have the question, or the sentence says, I've been studying English for 12 years. And they underline for us the word for 12 years. Also, this is a very important note. When we find the word for or since in a sentence, and they want us to ask, we use how long. So the question here, how long have you been studying English? How long have you been studying English? I've been studying English for 12 years. Okay, so here we have period of time, not a specific time. We don't know this 12 years, when did they start or it is over. So just immediately we say just 12 years. We give the whole period that it took us for studying, okay? So it is a long period. Number 12, we have how many. How many, we use it with countable nouns. Countable nouns, as you know, for example, things we can count them. Some of students will say which has S. No, not only which has S. No, because, for example, man is singular, men plural, woman, also women plural, so it doesn't have an S, okay? So child and children, we have a lot of irregular words or plurals, so don't count just because of the S. When it is a plural, we ask about how many. For example, here they say there are 25 students. We have a number here, 25 students in my class, and they want you to ask. You'll say, how many? Pay attention that the word student immediately comes before the verb, immediately comes after the word how many. So immediately we put the word that we are asking about, the noun, we put it immediately after the word how many, and also you will see with how much. This is very important note. How many students? And then we say, are there in your class? How many students are there in your class? There are 25 students in my class. Okay? So when we have a number, we pay attention that we should ask with how many if it is underlined. Okay? But immediately mention the word and the noun that you are going to ask about. How many students? Okay? Number 13, we have the word how much. How much is used for uncountable nouns. How much is used for uncountable nouns. For example, here, how much does it cost? Okay? How much sugar do you like in your tea? If somebody offers you tea, and he said, how many spoons would you like in your tea? How many sugar, sorry, how much sugar do you like in your tea? So here, although you will say 2 spoons, we count the spoons, not the sugar. We are counting here the spoons. We say 2 spoons, please. 2 spoons. So the number is for the spoon, not for the word sugar. Okay? The word sugar is uncountable. So how much sugar do you like in your tea? 2 spoons, please. And there is a very also important note I'd like to draw your attention to. Look at this note. It is very important to know that money, the word money and the word time both of them are uncountable. What does it mean? Now, we can't say 1 money, 2 monies, or etc. 1 time or 2 times, except if we are talking about something else. Things that you repeat. But here the word time telling about hours and minutes and seconds, okay? The word money is uncountable, but we count the currencies, not the money. For example, so when we ask using how much, not how many. Okay? Here, as you can note, how much does it cost? For example, you bought a new jacket and your friend is asking you, how much does it cost? You'll say about 100,000 Syrian pound with the discount, of course. Here we have this sentence. Look, how much money do you have? If you need to borrow some money from your friend, you'll ask her, how much money do you have? She says, I have 2,000 Syrian pounds. Syrian pounds here, we are counting the pounds. The pounds are counted, not the word money. Okay? So we count the pounds because this is Syrian, 2,000 Syrian pounds. Or we can say sterling pounds, or euros, or dinars, etc., dirhams, reals, etc. So we are counting the pounds, the money, the currency, not the word money at all. So pay attention to this. When you ask about money, we say, how much money? And pay attention that also here, immediately we ask about the noun. We say, how much money? And then we put the helping verb, do you have? Like here, the first example, how much sugar do you have? How much sugar do you like? Okay? So after the word how much and how many, Immediately we add the noun we are asking about. So how much sugar do you like in your tea? 2 spoons, please. So here we count here the spoons, not the sugar. The note says the word money and the word time. For example, how much time do we have? Your friend will say 10 minutes only. We have 10 minutes only. So money and time are uncountable. So the word here, how much money do you have? I have 2,000 Syrian pounds. So we are counting the pounds, not the word money. Number 14, the last one I think here, which is how far. When we ask about distance, how far is your home from your school? How far is your home from your school? And the answer here, they say, it's about 1 kilometer. It's about 1 kilometer. It is very important for you to know that we count or we measure using kilometers here. In America, they use inch or miles and so on. But in English, we use it with meter and kilometers. So we ask about distance. How far is something from your home, your company, if you have a company or a factory or whatever. How far is your home from your school? It's about 1 kilometer. How far is the earth to the moon? Do you know? Hope so. Now the rule. What is the rule? After all these examples and usages of the words, cluster words or WH words, the rule says that when we want to form a question, we use the following. Number 1, we should know what is the WH word we are going to use for the specific question. Number 2, immediately we should have the helping verb. After the helping verb, we have the subject. Then after the subject, we have the main verb after the subject. And then the rest of the sentence, or we say complement, if we have adverb or something else. Okay, so the rule says WH word, we start with WH word, then helping verb, subject, main verb, and rest of sentence. This is the rule. Now, let's move to yes-no questions. Yes-no questions, in fact, are very easy because they don't have a lot of words to use. Immediately when we have any question starting with yes or no, you'll find it in the exam. The sentence starts with the word yes immediately or no. Okay, so the word yes here, immediately you will know that you are going to use simple way. Here they say, yes, he can swim fast. Here I have the verb can, which is a model, as a helping verb, and the swim is a main verb. Just I paraphrase them. I invert them like this. Can he swim fast? So we drop the word yes or no, and immediately we use the helping verb which we have in the sentence and paraphrase it with the subject and have the sentence. Can he swim fast? Sorry, here we need of course, a question mark. Can he swim fast? Yes, he can. Number 2, for example, when they give me another sentence with no, for example, here, and they underline the word no and say, write a question. I look at the sentence here, it says, they haven't arrived yet. No, they haven't arrived yet. So I have the helping verb here, which is verb have. So I paraphrase it with the subject, which is they, and the question becomes, have they arrived? Have they arrived? They say, no, they haven't arrived yet. Have they arrived? So it is very easy, very simple. Another example here, sometimes you talk to your friend and will say, yes, I'm studying English now. Okay? Yes, I'm studying English now. What is the question? Just here, you pay attention, of course, that I and we, when we have them in the sentence and want to write a question, we change them into you, because you are asking your friend. Okay, so we can't have am I studying, okay? Because somebody is asking you, so it becomes you. We can't use am with you, of course we use are. So we use are you studying English now? Here you can't say am I studying. You don't ask yourself, of course. So the word or the two pronouns I and we, when we write a question, we change them into you. So here, yes, I'm studying English now. the question is, are you, because we change I into you and the am into are. So it becomes, are you studying English now? Yes, I'm studying English now. The rule here, immediately with the yes, no questions, we start with the helping verb plus subject plus main verb and then the rest of sentence. So immediately we start with the helping verb because we don't have a cluster word. Then the main verb, which is important, and in the middle we have the subject and the rest of sentence or the complement. It is very easy for yes, no questions. We have just the helping verb, subject, main verb, rest of sentence. Now let's move to another exercise you have or question in your exam, which is find the mistake. Here I'd like to draw your attention to some points. That finding the mistake, it doesn't mean that we have just grammar mistakes. No, my dear, we have 4 kinds of mistakes. So keep in mind that we have 4 types. Number 1, grammar mistake. 2, spelling mistake. 3, punctuation mistake. 4, capitalization mistake. So don't you think that, especially if they give you a paragraph, so it will be difficult for you to know what are the wrong words. So you should be very careful reading every single sentence and check what is the mistake in the sentence. Bear in mind that it's very important to know for every sentence there is just 1 mistake. Okay? So keep in mind that you have it. 1 mistake in every sentence. If you don't find grammar, look for spelling or punctuation or capitalization. Look at this paragraph. I read it very quickly and then we'll try to find the mistakes together. This is one of my experiences, in fact. 3 years ago, I have started a new experience which was authorizing. It has really enriched my knowledge and has added great information. I feel proud for being a citizen in a brave country like Syria. I also hope to sincerely serve my country. What are the mistakes here? We have 4 mistakes in the text, in this short text. I hope you can find them. Remind you again that we have grammar mistake, spelling mistake, punctuation mistake, and capitalization mistake. Let's see what are they. Here are the answers. I forget the letter R, sorry. The answers here, 3 years ago I have started a new experience. So the verb after have, we know that it is past participle. And the verb start is regular verb, so it takes ed. So I've started a new experience which was authorizing. It has really enriched my knowledge. Knowledge is a spelling mistake. Of course, that was grammar. Spelling mistakes because we have the D first and the G. So, as you can see here, this is the second, and we call it a spelling mistake. And has added great information. I feel proud for being a citizen in a brave country like Syria. The word Syria here, small letter S, and this is wrong because it is a country, it should be capital letter. So this is a capitalization mistake. I also hope to sincerely serve my country. Here we have the last one, which is punctuation, the end of this short text, and it should be full stop or dot, not a question mark. So here, when you read any text and you want to find the mistakes, you should know that we have 4 kinds of mistakes. 1, grammar mistake. 2, spelling mistake. 3, capitalization mistake. 4, punctuation mistake. So pay attention, please, for all these. Sometimes we give you words with A, B, C, and D. Here you look at only the underlined words. But if they give you just a text like this, you should be very attentive and know how to find the mistakes. They are not the same. Not all of them are grammar, my dear. So pay attention. Here, started. Okay, number 2, knowledge. Number 3, Syria. And the last one is full stop. That's all for today. I'd like to thank you so much and thank Miss Yusra for her patience with me. I want to thank Miss Lubna Abu Saleh, and it is me, Meisaء Khalaf. Wish you the best of all. Thanks and bye.